Let's think of education as a board game. If all New Mexico students started at Go, depending on the cards drawn, making it to the end might require some tough strategic moves. Restorative Justice Colorado was established in 2008 by lawmakers here at the Colorado State Capitol. We wanted to see if we could talk to him in person. He wasn't home, so I wrote him a note. All right, so the note says, Mr. Berry, this is Colton Shone with KOB4. Would love to talk to you about art and its new developments. Please give me a call. In 1993, the Education Reform Act was passed here in Massachusetts. They say they performed a field sobriety test, and she didn't do so well.
I called the plumbers. It got fixed.
Okay, but it's not fixed right now because we still see the sewage backing up. When is that going to get fixed?
I have it done fixed today.
Well, we continue to follow breaking news out of the Four Corners region. We have learned 3 people were killed during a school shooting at Aztec High School. Officials confirming 2 of them are students. The other is the suspected shooter. No word yet on who that person is or if that person is a student. We are giving you a look at the school right now through Chopper 4. Let's think of education as a board game. If all New Mexico students started at Go, depending on the cards drawn, making it to the end might require some tough strategic moves. According to the state's public education department, only 7 out of 10 New Mexico students will win the game and collect that high school diploma. That's the lowest graduation rate in the nation. So how do we help more of our students win? What are the best players in this education game doing to succeed? We rolled the dice.
You will definitely want to go ahead and board with the A group.
And moved 2,200 miles to the land of Massachusetts. The Bay State is known for consistently ranking at the top for education, but key players will tell you it wasn't always that way. A lawsuit was filed in the 70s on behalf of low-income students, saying those students weren't receiving an adequate education. The Massachusetts Supreme Court agreed. Sound familiar? A New Mexico judge made a similar ruling in our own state this year. In 1993, the Education Reform Act was passed here in Massachusetts. It gave more money to schools. It made student standards much higher and also promoted accountability. And 2 decades later, the students here are ranking internationally. This is Fitchburg, about 50 miles west of Boston.
We're small urban, which brings kind of unique problems, but also unique opportunities.
Here at Crocker Elementary School, we find the state's top education leader, Jeff Riley.
Lyra, do you have a 3?
Caught up in a wicked game of Go Fish with 2nd graders on a tour of schools throughout the state.
Well, you came in 2nd place. I came in last, so that's okay. Thank you for letting me play, guys.
Over the years, hundreds of millions of extra dollars went to the schools.
What does that give us if we have 40 plus 2, everyone?
42.
With a major focus on poor communities. So what did the Education Reform Act do that wasn't being done before?
Before education reform, there was a feeling that there was a real inequity in what districts got to pay for their students. And what this did was it infused a tremendous amount of capital into the school systems to bring that funding back up to a level where people felt like kids could get an adequate education. Probably within the first 5 years, probably about 20 years ago, we started seeing demonstrable gains. Massachusetts was not at or near the top prior to that.
That money came with a few conditions. Student standards would be higher than national expectations and improved every few years. Test scores are a check on the system, not a driver in teacher evaluations. The state will take over school districts' operations if necessary. Satisfying those conditions is not easy. What is it like for the teachers who come to work every day at your school?
Well, it's challenging. There are many new initiatives and mandates that come from the state, mostly positive, and they're designed to improve outcomes in instruction for students, but at times they can be, as I said, overwhelming and frustrating.
Crocker Elementary Principal Adam Renda says his school is at the bottom 10% as far as family income goes, but it is outperforming wealthy suburban communities.
First, we look at the physiological: food, water, shelter, clothing. If our students need those, they're not really going to worry much about learning math or reading. They're going to worry about eating, and where they're going to sleep tonight.
Massachusetts leads the way right now, but education officials say they're about to change the game rules all over again.
Thanks, guys.
You know, Massachusetts is in a kind of an inflection point right now. We have had 25 years of education reform. What I've said to folks in the field is we need to kind of close that chapter and figure out what's next.
With changes looming, it's unclear if Massachusetts will stay ahead of the game. But knowing how Massachusetts has played so far, we have one big question. Will our next state leaders see Massachusetts move as a potential game changer for New Mexico, or come up with a better plan to move us ahead? Soon, it'll be their move. Colton Shone, KOB Eyewitness News 4.
It's difficult. You know, it's every year you hope you're going to find out something. You hope this is the year and somebody's going to finally say something and come forward and tell us.
Tara Calico was last seen riding her bike along Highway 47 just south of Belen near mile marker 15. It was a bike ride that she did almost every single day. And on the morning of her disappearance, she told her mom, "If I'm not back by noon, come look for me." It's been 30 years, and she hasn't been seen since. The stunning rugged terrain of the Manzano Mountains may have been the very last thing 19-year-old Tara saw alive. It's a haunting thought that's plagued Michelle Dole's mind, keeping her up at night, asking the same questions about her stepsister, what really happened and why.
It was very frightening. You know, you never thought something was going to happen to you or somebody you know in that type of community.
This is the last photo taken of her, the day before she went missing. In these never-before-seen documents from the case file, Michelle shows us a timeline of Tara's day on September 20th, 1988. At 9:30 a.m., she left for her ride. She was last seen by a woman named Annie between 11:15 a.m. and noon. Her Boston cassette tape was found near mile marker 16.
And I just thought, you know, she was coming back. Like, there was no doubt in my mind, like we just hadn't figured out where she was yet.
Determined, Michelle and Tara's high school friend Melinda Escabel are seeking justice for Tara.
She was very fun-loving. She liked to laugh.
Conducting their own investigation, going through hundreds of uncovered documents themselves.
I think we have a general understanding of what happened. I just think some of the details are missing, just a few of the details that we would like to learn.
Melinda turned her investigation into a true crime podcast, Vanished, the Tara Calico investigation.
Tara's headlines would monopolize the media for the next 10 years. But there was no Tara. Ever.
Getting national attention from the likes of Nancy Grace to readers of People magazine.
It has generated new information, yes. Absolutely. And we have been, you know, Michelle and I have been feeding everything we get to the sheriff's office, of course, and to the FBI.
Michelle believes there's no happy ending to the story, believing her stepsister was murdered. She just wants answers so she can put her to rest.
I always said if this had happened to me or somebody else in my family, she would have done this. She would have been the person who was persistent and not given up, no matter what what obstacles have been faced. And I want people to remember her as a strong individual who had something going for her.
Colton Shone, KOB Eyewitness News 4. There were about 300 students here at Eva B. Sokoley Elementary School in Shiprock, and about 60 of them are enrolled in the immersion program, where they learn about cultural identity as well as the Navajo language. This is what America the Beautiful sounds like in Dene, otherwise known as the Navajo language. The students here start each day with it, and as you can see, this isn't a regular class. These young girls and boys are taught in their native language. Dr. Belinda Begay with the school says this way of learning is important to keep the language alive.
It's taken us 6 years to be where we're at today, so it's definitely growing and getting stronger.
The Navajo words and phrases cover the walls. Some rooms are set up with a traditional Hogan-style entrance, and kids are taught with cultural sensitivity.
because language is so crucial.
UNM Native American Studies professor Tiffany Lee is taking part in a $1 million study to research the impact these indigenous language immersion schools can have on students. It's a multi-university effort that's looking at 8 of these schools across the country.
It's shown a lot of success in many communities for not only their cultural knowledge and obviously language learning, but also their academic achievement.
Good morning.
School principal Terry Ben says it's a challenge, but one that students, parents, and teachers take head on.
We've got to make sure that all the needs of our students are met in every way. And so, but we are proud to say that our school grade went from a D to a B. So this year we are celebrating that.
The children here take pride in their culture.
We learn these new dances
and dress the way their traditional elders do.
I like about the school where we talk about our culture.
For them, this is their way of life.
It's amazing to see our children really grasp the language, the culture, and how to think and know who they are in terms of being
All right, so what's next? Well, they hope that they can expand this program from K through 5 all the way from K through 12. In Shiprock, I'm Colton Shone, KOB Eyewitness News 4.